The August 24th, 2023 work session for the Douglas County Board of Commissioners will come to order. Welcome, citizens of Douglas County. County Clerk, please take the roll for the record.
Yes, sir. Commissioner District 1, Ricky Dobbs.
Present.
Commissioner District 2, Kelly Robinson.
Madam Clerk, present.
Vice Chair, Commission District 3, Tarenia Carthen.
Present.
District 4 Commissioner, Mark Alcaraz.
Present.
Chairman Phil Miller.
I'm here. Commissioners, are there any changes that need to be made to the agenda? Being none, the agenda stands as approved. As a reminder, each commissioner will have 3 minutes to make remarks and 2-minute rebuttal. Clerk, did we have anyone sign up for public comment?
Yes, sir. We had one individual, but before I call them up, I'll just restate the instructions. Please restate your name and address and subject matter for the record. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. Once you've reached your 3 minutes, please bring your comment to a close. Also, when you approach the podium, please adjust and speak directly into the mic. So the citizen we have signed up is Mr. James Benko.
Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you. Good morning. My name is James Benko. I reside at 2711 Old East County Line Road, Lithia Springs. Point of complaint with Douglas County, Georgia Board of Commissioners. The assessed value of my home at 2711 Old East County Line Road, Lithia Springs, is tax-based on averaged with neighboring communities and based on the millage rate, in turn used for schools, trimming road, bordering foliage, trees, and most importantly, maintaining the roads and access to the property for said paid taxes, etc. The taxes that I pay are not being used to maintain Old East County Line Road, and lack of maintenance maintaining this access road leading to the property on this road is degrading the property and saleability. My home that I pay taxes for is valued on the surrounding neighborhood communities, and neighborhood communities have paved roads, maintained roads, and their taxes that their taxes pay for. Pave and maintain the road for the taxes that I pay so that they can match the neighboring communities. So if you can't pave the road properly, then lower my millage rate to reflect the poor road maintenance until the road can be paved and maintained properly. There are pictures of deteriorating road that I have attached, and at the in the latter portions, and there's a map, Google map of where the road is and the surrounding communities that I have pictures for their entrance, and you can see the difference. I have color glossy pictures if you guys want to pass them around. It's what's pretty much in here, but pictures in here on the paper are not really, don't give it justice. The color glossy, is much better if you want them. I should have probably put those in before.
Oh, it's okay. Deputy Director Rana, will you make sure you get those from him? Deputy Director Rana will make sure he gets that from you. Sir?
There There's two houses that reside on this road, and one piece of property that is behind me that I own can be used for future development, also accessible from this road that's not being maintained. So I don't know what else I can say, that it's been years since they even touched the road. In the one picture, there was the water department had dug up for a broken water line, and they repaired that, but that's the only thing that's been done to it. I've lived there for almost 10 years, and it was long before that, since it was even touched.
Okay, we agree your road is in pretty poor shape, and we'll look into it for you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry,
You got it. You took
I
care of it.
apologize.
Thank you, sir.
There were no other comments.
We have Mr. David Good with us this morning to present the 2016 spliced update. Morning.
Good morning, Chairman. Thank you very much. Let me just pull that up. All right, again, thank you very much, Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, Board of Commissioners, staff. Again, this is David Good. I'm David Good. I'll be presenting on the SPLOS 2016 SPLOS. Let me go to the next slide. Here we are talking about the expenses that's going to be through July, as well as projects completed in July and the active activities on the projects going on in transportation, fire, and parks and rec. Right now, we have our SPLOS total, which of course has not changed since the SPLOS did end on March 31st, 2023. The total amount that was collected was $121,946,158. As of now, we've invoiced, as the end of July, we've invoiced about $87.5 million, which leaves about $34.5 million left in SPLOS funds. We've completed 82 projects, and we're working on 25 active projects plus program management. Here we have our completed projects. The first one is a 100-foot ladder truck that's destined for fire station number 9. The total cost was $1,785,000. $1,785,000 in SPLOS funds was at $694,091. Also, we bought the second of 2 tanker trucks. This one would be for the east. The one we got in the beginning was one for the west. That was at a cost of $482,410. Both of these vehicles were delivered in July. This is the actual 100-foot fire truck. That's station number 9. And then this here is the tanker truck that, of course, was ordered for safety reasons along I-20 and as well as in the rural areas of Douglas County. Our project activities, we have the burn tower at the training center. Right now, the fire training structures, the FTS, they are scheduled to complete the fabrication of the actual burn tower by December. Right now, staff is working on bid documents in order to have the demo of the existing burn tower, as well as do the construction for the new foundation. At Stewart at Reynolds Road, I know that's one of our original projects way back from 2017. That one is now about 80% complete. The Corbett Fund has said that, and it'll be completed in October. I drove down the area a couple of days ago. It looks pretty good, and everything actually has been open. I talked to one of the citizens who actually lives in the area. He came to my meeting on Saturday, and he said that so far he is pleased and he's welcome to that area being taken care of. And then finally, we have the concept designs, one at Deer Lick and the other one at Winston Park. Those are the last 2 meetings. On the 23rd, which is, I believe, is a Wednesday, they'll be over at the old courthouse in order to have the public meeting at 6 p.m. And then on the very next day, on Thursday, we'll be at Deer Lake Park Gym to have that meeting about the Deer Lake conception. And once those meetings are done, they take the input, they will come out with a concept plan. I believe it's going to be Los Design will be doing that. Next, we have our vendor report. We have 177 total vendors. 65 of those reside right here in Douglas County. Another 57 reside right outside of Douglas County. And a lot of those firms are right outside Douglas County. They actually have either have hired or those who are in Douglas County run some of those companies, vendors that are right outside Douglas County. So we include those also as local. And of course, a lot of them do belong to the chamber. Another 27 are right outside of our local area, and then another 28 are outside the state of Georgia. That's a total of 108 projects. Again, 25 are active, with 1 as program management, and then another 82 are completed projects. When it comes to the percentage of local vendors, we represent 69% of local vendors. When it comes to the actual funds, those 69% receive 60% of the funding. And then finally, we have the push for DBEs and minority participation. Of those 26 active projects, we've increased our numbers to 81% of active projects. And that is my presentation. I'll take any questions and comments, and we have Terry Gable from Atlas to help answer any technical questions. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Any questions? Yes, sir. Commissioner Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, guys, gentlemen. All right, let's get to work. So, to the citizens' comment, and I don't know if Suleiman's out there. Maybe you could, Director Rana, come on up and join the gentleman. I want to clarify this. So, because infrastructure is important, so I want to focus on the 2016 SPLOS. Gentlemen, what percentage went into infrastructure and transportation, for the record?
The part for finance was for transportation was 51%.
51%. So
Yes, sir.
51% of our SPLOS 2016 went into infrastructure. All right, that's the first question. Second question is, there are 773 center miles. Is that correct, Director Rana? Give or take.
Yes, sir. Approximately 800.
Oh, I'll take 800. All right, 800 center miles out of inside of 199 square mile footprint. All right, so if there's 700, or that makes it easy math, 800 times what? How much does it cost to pave a mile?
The current bid showed an estimate of $440,000 per mile for this year.
So if I would do the whole county, every 773, 700 times what? 4 is what, 28, you talking about 300 million?
Approximately somewhere between 250 to 300.
300 million. Now I know we probably have cycled through, back in 2000, I don't know what it was, 17, the Board of Commissioners at that time amended the agreement. At that time, it was Moreland Herman Russell joint venture to run the SPLOS. We amended to rate every road in this county. So I want the citizens to know that right now you can go out on our website, you should be able to, and see where your road would have fallen. And do we still update that road? I mean, update that map.
Yes, sir. So that list was good for 5 years. It would be up for renewal next year.
Right.
And that's a process we'll be restarting. But this road would certainly be on that list.
It would be on that list. Now I'm bringing up the point is that, think about 300 million. Each SPLOS generates what, about 150 million? Now, how long is this going to take me to cycle through everything when everything can't go just into infrastructure? But duly noted, and it's not for lack, it's about prioritization. And I just wanted to make sure that you guys get with that, that citizen, because his point is valid. But it takes time. When you think about it, we're just talking about, you guys are just doing major roads and arterial. You're not even dealing with subdivisions. And that was important for me in this cycle. Like, okay, what about the subdivision? People have been living there for 30, 40 years and never had their subdivision resurfaced since they moved in. So hopefully you guys are working on that. I just want to drive home that point that this current SPLOS, the new one that's going to be coming up, that's part of our, what I want to call it, the capital improvement plan, that below that there is a list of projects that this becomes a priority. So I know you're going to work that out. Is that correct, Director Rana? You working on that?
Yes, sir. When we start putting together next year's resurfacing list, we'll be sure to include this in the evaluation and recommend for board approval.
That's all I need, guys. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I want to just clarify that because the citizen brought it up. Mr. Chairman, I yield, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Next on the agenda is the meeting minutes. Commissioners, please review the minutes before tomorrow's meeting. Next, we have the financial report for July. It will be presented by the Finance Committee later today. Please prepare to accept the report during tomorrow's commission meeting. County Administrator, do we have any business to come before the board?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll go to agenda items. Clerk, please begin with the first agenda item.
Yes, sir, that will be under grants. Number 5, approval of an agreement with the Atlanta Regional Commission as a subcontractor for the Livable Centers Initiative for the Highway 92 Corridor LCI Study Grant in the amount of $120,000 with a match of $30,000 to be funded through the Planning and Zoning Department budget for a total of $150,000 in study funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Allison Duncan.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners. You may recall that in February of 2023, we brought to you an opportunity to apply for a Livable Centers Initiative grant. Our current Livable Centers Initiative project is on the Highway 92 corridor, roughly between I-20 and Lee Road. So we came back to you and we asked for some resources to go back to ARC and apply for study funds to revisit that original corridor. It's been, since 2007 when that initial study was completed. We think it's a good time to check in, look for an update, see what's been working about our implementation, what needs to be tweaked about our implementation. So we did apply with your support, and we were awarded total $150,000 in study funds. This is federal transportation money, so that's an 80-20 split. $120,000 will come from ARC, $30,000 will be provided by Douglas County. We do have that amount budgeted in the planning and zoning budget for this year. This is a reimbursable grant, and it will go out to competitive bid. So if you vote to accept this agreement, and I think that's going to be tomorrow when you would vote, then we will work with our procurement department to put out an RFP and go through competitive bid. That's the highlights. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about this opportunity at this time.
Questions? Commissioner Robinson.
Right. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so, 2007, one of the very first reports I got from Charlie Kent when I came into office was the LCI, the little brown fold, package binder and stuff, and it was pretty good. And at that time, the vision was, it was sort of supposed to be like Savannah. You had these trees, these willows, and it's supposed to be shaped a certain way. That was my first insight, okay, how to design a county, how to influence its nature. Is through these type of exercises. Like, okay, look what they're telling you. Now, I can look 15 years later like, okay, we didn't quite get there. We probably need to make some adjustments. But talk to us about how do we apply this? Because we have plenty of reports on my library. How do you apply what we're going to get out of this, Allison? Help us out.
Surely. So the 2007 study gave way to a 2009 supplemental study that focused on transportation improvements in that area. And then since that time, we've been working on implementing through a zoning code overlay. So to your point, I think one of the things that staff had identified, and part of the reason we applied for this, is that implementation had been a little piecemeal. So there are key features that came out of that study. So the kind of 4-board fence with the brick piers, the double row of overstory trees, the additional landscaping, the masonry facades required on any new construction. But because we mostly implemented this through an overlay zoning district, that means that you only come into compliance when there's a change in use on the property. And so I think that those are some key things that we want to address. You'll notice there's places on the corridor where the signage is inside the fence, sometimes it's outside of the fence. And overall, we think it's time to just refresh and make sure that that overlay district is kind of implementing the vision, and then figure out how we can kind of come back around and piece together the places where it hasn't quite aligned with expectation. 2 new things that have come about since that time. So we have transit on the corridor now. That was part of the reason that we were able to seek this investment from ARC, is because we have transit on the corridor, and so we want to make sure that we're aligning our land use with transit supportive densities so that we can continue to support transit opportunities on that corridor. And we now have the countywide kind of trail master plan that we had done during that comprehensive plan update. And so for the first time, we'll sort of have a larger network in which we can kind of plug in that multi-use path, bike ped vision into what we're trying to do. So I'm excited to look at all of those pieces and how we can come together, to your point, assess what worked and then maybe what hasn't worked, and then bring you a series of recommendations, overlays, and projects that can kind of help carry this corridor through to the next phase of its implementation.
All right, last question then. So you said 09 we updated that. So 7 years later, 2016, that's when I walked, obviously from the courthouse all the way to Tributary. And I realized that, again, there was no sidewalks. There was no, how are we dealing with that density that's coming on Fairburn? Is that considered? I heard you sort of talk about the overall design, buildings and so forth, but how do we deal with that component, which is, there's still like, oh my God, the bike lanes and the ingress, egress are the same. Oh my God, where are the people really gonna stand with the buses? Like, now how are we gonna do this? How do we address something that's already in play? How do we retro that buffer, that separation of cars and people along that very long corridor? Can you help me out?
Sure. I think one of the things that we'll want to identify as a part of the study is where is it feasible for land use to transition, and where do we anticipate that it's not going to transition. So to your point, since 2007, we've had a great recession and a pandemic, right? Thinking just two kind of major events that have shifted what the expectations may have been in 2007. So we think we need to revisit that, look at where land uses are transitioning. So for example, at the intersection of Lee Road and Highway 92, where we have the movie studio coming in, and some of those other uses, anytime you come into that corridor, you're expected to improve your bike ped infrastructure. So you have to build those transportation connections that are missing. But again, because we implemented this through an overlay district, it's been piecemeal. We've only implemented that where change has happened. So I think this provides us a good opportunity to look at certain land uses where we just don't anticipate change to happen, and see if we need to kind of look at some sort of connect the gaps, with some of our bike ped infrastructure in that area, and then seek out appropriate funding opportunities, through state, federal transportation funds, to maybe kind of fill in those gaps in the overall network where we don't anticipate the land use is going to change as quickly as it might in other places.
Great. Yeah, that was sufficient. Thank you so much for right now. Hopefully the board will find it worthy to approve tomorrow. Mr. Chair, I yield, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll move to our business items. Number 6, authorization to amend the district attorney's budget in the amount of $90,346.19 for personnel salary increases to be funded through the general fund. Mr. Kevin McMurray.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I'm here on behalf of our elected district attorney, Dahlia Racine. She's wanted to be here, but is away at the National Black Prosecutors Conference. Part of what she's doing there is attempting to recruit some talent to our office. And we've made this request because we have an urgent need in our office to be able to adequately fund our attorneys so that we are able to maintain our staff. We spend a lot of time and effort to train, raise up, and have good prosecutors in our office, but the market in the metro area continues to work against us in that regard. So this is our immediate need and request.
Any questions? Yes, sir, Commissioner Dodd.
I just, so this 90,000 is a amendment, they say, to the budget, so it's an increase to distribute the funds throughout the current attorneys on hand?
Yes.
I was just curious of where it was going, because it was no supporting document on how you was planning to use that 90,000.
And the plan is to provide a additional salary to our attorneys to retain the talent we have. That's it, this is something that that we've addressed to the commissioners individually, I believe, but it continues to be an issue in our office, and it's an urgent need.
And then this will be something that you plan to keep in like yearly, or is this just like a bonus type thing?
This is for this year. I anticipate that salary will be worked into next year's budget as well. So no, to answer your question, it's not a one-time bonus type of thing.
Okay. Chairman, I yield.
Any more comments or questions? Vice Chair?
Thank you. Hi. We have spoke about this. Can you give me or the citizens a little background as to what you mean by you can't keep the talent?
Yes.
Kind of walk us through that, and then tell me how many you have on staff and how many DA Racine is out trying to get.
Sure. Well, right now we have a base pay of $73,500 for our attorneys, and that is significantly under the current market. We have managed to attract talent, train talent, but we often have prosecutors leaving for greener pastures, and part of that is that they come here, get some training on this county's dime and expense, so to speak, and then they're offered more opportunity elsewhere, and that's something that we want to stop. In the metro area, prosecutors are starting at $90,000 to $100,000, so we're significantly below what some of those prosecutors are making elsewhere. That's not even considering private practice, which is a whole nother matter, significantly more. We know as public servants that we won't make what we could in private practice, but with the continued inflation, with the continued run up in the market in Fulton County and DeKalb County and Cobb and all the metro counties, it has been difficult for us to keep people. And so we've had a number of people leave. It's also been difficult for us. We've had several prosecutors, candidates that we've offered the position that they simply can't or won't come for the pay that we've been able to offer them. Presently, we have 18 attorneys that this would affect. There's a total of 21 attorneys in our office. Some are grant funded, so this would not impact them. In addition, we have one current grant-funded position that's open that we've been unable to fill at the moment that we're actively trying to recruit for. But it is a regular occurrence in our office to, as soon as we get fully staffed, it seems we have someone leaving, which creates a tremendous burden on the ability to prosecute the cases effectively, and it creates a tremendous burden for our victims and our community who have to then wait longer or shift gears with a new prosecutor picking up the case, and so that's an impact that we feel on a daily basis in our office.
So with this $90,000, what would the starting pay now be from 73 to?
It would raise it to 84.5.
84.5. And what are some of the other things? Because we still wouldn't be in line with our surrounding counties, right? We're so close to Fulton County. I think people forget that. We're so close to Fulton and Cobb. So it's easy, even for teachers. I've heard of teachers who go over to Cobb or who go right down the street to Paulding and Fulton County. So it's really hard, right? We are starting to come up, right, because we're getting more development here. But even with more development, that means, a little bit more burden of crime and things that will take place. It's just a natural occurrence because of the population growth. So with 84.5, what other things will the DA's office be doing to attract talent? Is it training? It must be top notch if they're going other places, but what else will you be doing?
Well, it is training. It's opportunity. We also sell Douglas County and the unique opportunities that exist here. We are very close to the metro, but at the same time, it's a bit quieter. There's a lot that the county has to offer, and our young prosecutors, many of them see that and are willing to take somewhat of a discount to come here for the opportunity. And frankly, if I might, I think DA Racine herself attracts a lot of talent because she's an effective prosecutor who has proven on the state level that our office is trying to raise the bar, and that's attractive to people. But at the same time, compensation matters, and that continues to be something that we talk about often, and that we are constantly looking for ways that we can make the position attractive to young prosecutors, because we want people to come here, learn, and stay. People to be invested in Douglas County.
Got you. Okay, and this would take effect, how soon? As soon as?
This would be virtually immediately.
Okay.
So we've calculated this through the rest of the year.
The rest of the year.
And so I believe that's 9 pay periods left for the rest of the year.
Okay. And the next question is to the county administrator. How would this affect our general fund budget?
I'm sorry, would you?
How would this affect the general fund budget? Because we would be making a mid-year adjustment.
Correct.
So,
It's going to increase the budget correspondingly by that amount.
by that amount. And can we take that hit now, or should we be waiting until we get ready to do budgets, which we just came out of budget hearings, right? So
Let me say this.
Mid-year budget.
We certainly have, Madam Vice Chair, the capacity to incorporate it now
Mhm.
if the board chooses to.
And it wouldn't go over our policy?
I think we'll have the capacity within and stay within the policy.
And stay within the policy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I yield.
Anyone else?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Roberts?
No, thank you. Commissioner Dodd and Vice Chair asked a couple questions I'm going to go down a path on. So let's, to that point, how many attorneys do you have? 18?
This will affect 18. There's a total
How
of
many
20.
total do y'all have in the
21.
office? All right. So that's what, a 9,000 minimum increase? From
Yes.
73 to 84? No, 11.
Yes, it'd be 11.
11,000. All right, got it. I get it. And this is, how long have you been with us? It's just for context.
I've been here about 2 years.
Okay, 2 years. All right, got it. So I'll help fill this in for my peers. So this is one of the comments I made, that, right, whether it's public safety, whether it's judicial, if you look at the historical pay and compensation in my 15 years here, we haven't kept up. We've got this balloon. We talk about the application of tax dollars and all that. I get it. These are employees that are actually doing the work. And I look at this, and we get self-righteous about, oh my God, we're going to spend, and like, guys, these guys, when are you going to take care of your people? I've argued that forever. It's like, it needs to be disciplined, cost of living, just bake it in. Don't make every year political. Don't make your employees exclusionary. I'm going to do this group and not that group. Like, okay, shouldn't it not be consistency? It's about standardization. It's about modernization. But I get it. And so we have to make these moments, adjustments. I have no, I don't have any opposition for what I'm listening to. I'm just making my point. So my question, County Administrator, we had once, or Madam ACA, we had once looked at an across-the-board employee compensation study. Where is that study at? And I thought we were doing an update. I think y'all were doing it last year, it got started. Where do we stand with that? Compensation across the board. We spent money on this. Where's that report?
Commissioner Robinson, I believe we did one some years ago. I think that our new HR director's in the process of looking into doing a current market study at this time.
Gotcha. No, I just wanted to know where that was. We can take that one offline. That's fine. Thank you. We'll come back to that. We'll get with the directors over there later. My next question becomes, all right, so you're right. It's, to me, I think it's at the end of the day to attract talent, two things, yes, cash, but also leadership. It's always about leadership, right? That's how you stimulate. That's how you keep them like, okay, I respect that leader. That keeps me. I don't mind coming in and submitting and following those orders. It's leadership. Absolutely. So I'm glad to hear that you guys are down that path. So retaining, what about paying tuition reimbursement? Do we offer that? Can I take off that $80,000 worth of law school? Would that make a difference, a program like that, or do you already have that in play?
We, the county does not. There are some potential loan forgiveness programs out there. I'm not prepared to address the commission. We can get you more information about that. But yes, to your question, does the amount of debt that that many people carry as young attorneys impact whether or not they can come here and whether or not they will stay here? Absolutely. A lot of our young attorneys have a significant amount of student loans as it pertains to both undergrad and law school. And that does impact their decisions.
Gotcha. No, I need you to just frame that for us, and it probably would make a difference. I'm not adding that as a condition of the conversation, but for our budgeting planning, we talk about programs, we talk about this. All we can do is create solutions and offer up appropriations, but at the end of the day, once y'all guys get them, you do have to create the culture to keep them and train them and develop them and deliver the services. So we have to work with you. So I'm just trying to come up with something creative, but thank you for addressing me, sir. Mr. Chairman, I yield. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Does the state supplement your salaries any?
So there are multiple pots. There's the county, purely county-funded attorneys. There are state-funded attorneys. It's a much smaller number. We get an allocation by statute, and then the grant-funded. That is the. I'm checking back here with our
Smart man.
our administrator. But those are the three pots from which funds come. So to your question was whether or not the state provides a supplement. No, what the state provides is a state paid position, and I could get the commissioners the number of state paid positions. I'm not sure what those are at the moment, but it's a much smaller number compared to the county.
Okay. I'm trying to understand. You have 21
Yes, 21 total.
lawyers. How many of them are supplemented?
Or do you know the answer to that? I do not know the answer to that right off the top, but if I might, could I
Please,
have,
take your time.
Laura Thompson is our office administrator. She knows the numbers better than I do. We have these are state paid county sub. We have 6 of those attorneys who are state paid, but county supplemented on top of the state pay.
Okay. So the county's pay and the supplement that just reaches 84 or 70-something thousand.
For a starting pay, the county, in fact, the state pay is lower than the 73. The state paid starting salary for an ADA is now 60. It's in the 60s, and we'll
Wow.
get you that actual number. And so we are supping.
That's deplorable that somebody with a law degree could have a job at 60,000 a year.
Well, the
in
state likes
today's
to
world.
defer the expenses to the county. So what is happening across the state is that the state comes in at this level, which I agree with you, is deplorable. And in order to even get anybody to come in the door, the county has to supplement that.
Okay. So the state's 60-something, and we already supplement it up to 75, and we're going to try to raise it to 84. Is that right?
Yes, the
Yeah.
county already supplements up to 73.5, and the goal right now is to try to get to 84.5.
Okay. All right. Well, I think it's going to turn out good for you.
Thank you.
All right.
I have one question though.
Commissioner Dobbs.
For situational awareness, could you provide like a printout? Because I remember, I think when the public defenders came in, they just provided a kind of like a base for where all the money was going, how much was going where. Because one of the things, if we're increasing the 90,000 for the budget, then another thing I want to know, like, what was the past budget, and then what would this take it to, just so I can know, like, going forward towards the future as well.
We'll be happy to provide those materials. Do you understand what's being? So specifically, what you're looking for is what our prior
Yeah.
budget is,
Mm-hmm.
the amount allocated to salaries, which is
Yes.
the vast
And
majority.
then, and then how the 90,000 will be distributed? Because like, would it be split evenly, or I assume that some people will get maybe like 4,000, another one 12.
It
just
would.
kind
So the goal with the 90,000 is, of course, to raise our base pay, but it's also in the discretion of the district attorney. She allocates the funds,
Sure.
that are provided.
Okay.
And considers a number of factors in that allocation.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, I thank you for that.
We good?
Yields.
Anybody else? Next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 7, authorization for Douglas County Development Services to enter into an agreement with Leadership Strategies to provide training services for multiple staff training sessions in the amount of $20,250 to be funded through Development Services and DOT Department's budget, and to authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Allison Duncan.
All right. Good morning again. What I have for you now is essentially a training request. So there is no impact to the budget for this request. We are working with Planning and Zoning Development Services and Department of Transportation to pool our resources collectively and offer a training opportunity for our staff. This is essentially 2 requests. So one of them is for executive presentations. This is directly tied to the goal number 6 of the strategic plan, as well as the feedback that we've been getting from our staff that they would like to have more training and better confidence, so that when they're speaking to the board, to the Planning and Zoning Board, to groups, citizens groups, and things of that nature, that they feel like they are better prepared, can focus on the content, can focus on managing question and answers, and things of that nature. So we're asking for 1-day training. The amount is $9,855. It will be for 16 people, shared between the Development Services and the Department of Transportation staff. This amount does include expenses, but the only expenses they've identified is mileage. Our trainer is here in the Metro Atlanta area, so the only expense will be mileage. That is for the executive presentation. And then the second presentation we would like permission to pursue is focused on the DISC assessment, right? So this is a communications tool that I'm sure many of you are familiar with. This is a cost of $10,395 for up to 30 persons. And that will basically be the staff of Development Services working in a half-day retreat with a trainer to facilitate the DISC course, so the DISC assessment, and then the follow-up training course to kind of help us better understand how we can improve communication, not only internally as a team, but with our external customers. So all of this has been shared with both procurement and legal. Legal has given us the green light on the contracts, and we do understand that because this falls under professional services, what we need to do is bring it to you for your approval. And with that said, I'm going to pause there and see what questions that you may have about moving in this direction.
Any comments, questions? Vice Chair.
Although, you know, I hate spending money, this is pretty good, right? Because you do need it. We do see the need, even when you guys present to us, right? There's this hesitation, and people don't, you know, do this a lot, right? So when you get before us, or you get before the board, or a lot of people in here, you do see the need. So I've never expressed this to you, but I'm glad that you also picked up on what your staff needs, right? This is a part of that training and that overall vision, you know, that Douglas delivers, which is, you know, what our ACA presented to us, and it is in line with the strategic plan. So kudos to you for identifying this. So have you taken any of these courses?
I have. This is a company that I used previously when I was at the Atlanta Regional Commission. So I have taken several of their courses where I've gone to their training facility, which is here in Metro Atlanta, and work with their facilitators. And then I have had them do custom training of my team at ARC. And so part of the reason I recommend them is because they were so well received by my team. So we did work with HR as we kind of tailored this request, and we will reserve a seat in both trainings if someone from HR would like to sit in and evaluate whether there's potential, you know, to expand their services and offer them more broadly, you know, throughout other departments in the county. But these were very well received by my staff previously, and again, we provided the opportunity for our staff to give us direct feedback of things that they want to see improvement on, and so skills development, training, those are the things that came up repeatedly. So as we can kind of continue to work, you know, and to make that transform Douglas County goal, we felt that this was a good opportunity. As I started talking with people about it, several of my peers said, hey, we think this is a good idea. How can we collaborate on it? So to your point about spending money, I hear you. That's why we're kind of pooling resources among multiple departments that is already allocated in our budget. This is not an ask over and beyond what we already have allocated in our budget.
This is good. I know we did have someone that we did give a contract to for leadership development and training, but of course I trust you, and you know your staff and what the needs are. So I'm okay with it. I yield, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Next.
Okay. Number 8 is authorization to approve an online dispute resolution agreement with Catalyst Courts and Land Records LLS in the amount of $6,000 to be funded through State Court Technology Fund, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. This was supposed to be for Miss Janessa Miller, and I don't see her, so with your authorization, I'll go on to the next one, and we'll try to contact
Okay.
Janessa. Okay, number 9, authorization for Douglas County Building Services to enter into an agreement with Jet Set 2 LLC to provide one-time pressure washing services at the Douglas County Courthouse property in the amount of $17,940 to be funded through the department budget, and to authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. And this is for Mark Price.
Howdy.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Sorry, I got the wrong page. Hold on with that paper. Apologies, I don't do this often enough. Back in July 17th, we received bids for pressure washing and cleaning the exterior of the courthouse. This is a comprehensive project which includes the precast, the windows, the sidewalks, the curbs, the pavers, everything outside the courthouse. We received 3 bids. The highest was $88,325. The second one was $44,850. The lowest bid was $17,940 from a company out of Tallahassee, Florida called Jet Set. I did some vetting. I checked the references for Jet Set since they were the lowest, and I got very good responses from their projects. They do a lot of colleges and universities across the country. Got good references. I actually had the project manager come out and walk the property with me because I was still skeptical whether they could do it for that low of a price, and he convinced me that they can do it. This is all they do. They do pressure washing and window cleaning at colleges, mostly colleges and universities and buildings across the country. So I'm satisfied that they can do the job for that amount, and this is coming out of our budget, so I'm not coming here asking for money. I just want the board to approve this so that we can sign the contract.
It's a heck of a deal. Comment?
Chairman?
Vice Chair?
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is not the same company that pressure washed last year?
No, ma'am.
Okay, cool. All right, and you say you walked the property with him?
Yes, ma'am. The project manager came out. He flew up he was actually in town to look at a job at Emory University, but he came and walked the property with me. I spoke with him. He's going to be on site for the project, and I'm convinced that they can do it.
I trust
If
you.
if they don't, we won't pay them.
I trust you. All right, I yield.
Anyone else? Mark?
Kudos for you
Commissioner?
for getting him up here and letting him put his eyes on it, because as you was reading off those numbers, I was thinking something seriously wrong. I was just a little concerned with such a price difference, because it is such a good price.
Yes, sir. Well, the highest cost was from a hauling and grading company. And my guess was they would sub it out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised, and feel good we'll get a good outcome.
Yeah, and I appreciate you doing this, because our citizens come in and out of this building every day. We should make it look nice. As Commissioner Robinson mentioned in our retreat, there was a lot of discussion about maintaining our buildings and upkeep, and so I appreciate you getting this done.
Thank you.
But yeah, again, just kudos for getting him up here, make sure he's seen it firsthand.
Thank you.
I yield, Chairman.
Anyone else? Next.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me. Commissioner Roberts.
No, real quick. Does that include the dome? How do we clean the dome? I was just curious.
We don't. When you say the dome, you mean the metal portion?
Yeah, up top. Yeah.
No, sir, we haven't cleaned it. It's metal, and
You're not able to get up there and shine it and make it vibrant.
no, sir, we don't. I mean, we could. It would be pretty costly. It would involve getting scaffolding. But
So then, all right, so to that point, that means this pressure washer goes up high. Then, so
They'll
what
go
does that
to
mean?
the top of the building. They have their own equipment.
Yep.
They'll get lifts and they'll do swing downs. They're gonna do the windows too. They'll have lifts that lift them up, and then they'll also do some drops off the side of the building. But they'll go to the top of the side of the building. They won't go to the roof or to the dome.
That's what I was looking for. That, thank you for clarifying. I just wanted to ask that question. How far were they gonna go up? Got it. You answer me. I'll go with my peers. You're good. Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
I yield, Mr. Chair.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk?
Okay, we'll go back to number 8, authorization to approve an online dispute resolution agreement with Catalyst Courts and Land Records LLS in the amount of $6,000 to be funded through the State Court Technology Fund, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Ms. Janessa Miller.
Morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning.
So this is an online dispute resolution that will help the citizens connect directly with the solicitor's office. They'll go through a process online rather than coming to court. So this is totally funded by the citizens. They'll have the option to pay $8 to go online and discuss their citation with the solicitors prior to the court date, or they can come to court on the court date. So several other counties have implemented this and love it. The $6,000 is for implementation and actually purchasing the software, et cetera. Judge Barker has approved that to be paid through the technology fund. So, any questions?
Hey. Hey.
Vice Chair?
How many cases do you think this will help you all to settle before they have to show up?
A lot. So we average about 12,000 cases just in traffic court alone per year. And I looked at our numbers. The number that I gave them in the contract was that we would do at least 500 cases. Is it 500 or 5,000? And we've done almost triple that in the last 2 years, just using an Excel spreadsheet. Very archaic, but it worked. Back where that we shared with the solicitor's office, where they would put something and then we would add it into Icon. This will definitely expedite that process. It will put everything directly into Icon. Trying to find my numbers. Yeah, 500 cases is what the minimum we said we'd do. I think it'll do closer to 1,500 a year. And that's without even advertising it. That's just with it existing. We have a lot of people that call that want to talk to the solicitors about their case, but I have to work that day. I have, a child, whatever. So obviously this will resolve a lot of cases prior to court. And that's, we don't mind people coming in here, but everybody that we can deal with prior to court is a win for everybody.
Exactly.
So the citizen especially, I feel like.
Would benefit.
So they'll be able to handle everything prior to court, not have to take the day off, et cetera. So
I think this is excellent. And then on top of that, it's included in the fee that they pay. So
Right.
you don't.
and it's not required. If they don't want to pay,
They still have the option.
they
to
have the
come.
option to come to court. They totally can.
Right.
So
Cool.
I would save $10 in gas driving from my house to come here and
Totally.
back. So,
Totally. Yeah.
but that's up to them. So
All right. Thank you. I yield, Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else? Next.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, we'll move to number 10, resolution approving the issuance of revenue bonds in regard to the TEFRA, which is Tax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act. Approval for Astoria at Crystal Lake, requested by the Housing Authority of Douglas County. And County Attorney Michael Coleman will address this.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this project is a project in Douglasville. The county has no financial responsibility for the project. We initially, if you recall, last year, we assisted the city in this project by abandoning a street and taking certain other actions for them to facilitate the project. We previously had conducted a TEFRA approval hearing. That approval hearing only lasts for a year. TEFRA requires there to be a public hearing for financing of projects of this sort, and it requires the Board of Commissioners to approve that approve the project after the hearing. to approve the financing after that public hearing. That approval only lasts a year. We previously approved a TEFRA, a previous TEFRA hearing, but the year has expired because the project was delayed as a result of financing increases and construction costs and things like that. So now they have had a new TEFRA hearing. The TEFRA hearing was conducted by Joe Fowler of Hartley Row Fowler. He submitted, and including in your materials, is a report from that hearing. The purpose of this is to simply redo the TEFRA approval that we previously did based on the new hearing. The county is not vouching for the project. The county is not guaranteeing or otherwise becoming financially obligated on the project. It is simply to approve the TEFRA hearing and allow the project to go forward based on the financing. I think one of the lawyers representing the Development Authority, Shani Loken from Hunton Andrews, is here and can answer any further questions that you may have about this.
Do we have any questions? Vice Chair?
Hi, can you remind me, is this for the senior project, the senior?
Yes,
It-
the
Okay.
project is an approximately 165-unit affordable multifamily housing project for seniors.
For
specifically.
seniors, okay.
Yes,
I just needed to re-jog my memory, thank you.
that's correct.
Anyone else?
No, she asked my question. Thanks, sir.
Next?
Next. That concludes the business items for today, Chairman.
Okay. Approval of, do we need to do the approval of the expenses?
Those will just need to be reviewed and will be adopted tomorrow.
Okay. Attorney Coleman, do we need to go into executive session?
Mr. Chairman, I have nothing for executive session. However, we have had a request from the probate judge to go into executive session to discuss litigation. I was going to ask her to give us more details about it. She's not here, but she has indicated she would be in executive session. I don't know enough. I know that she indicated in correspondence that it was pertaining to the, I think the last indication was the JQC. And she indicated she wanted to go in pursuant to 5014-2, which is an attorney-client exemption. There may be aspects of that. I don't represent her on that matter, so, but there may be aspects of that that I could advise on. So, but she is not here to give us more information about that litigation. So I will leave, so the board can decide whether it's prepared to go into executive session based on what we know or not.
Wouldn't she, go ahead, Vice Chair.
Excuse me, I was just apprised that we do have the need to go in for a personnel matter with respect to board appointments.
Okay.
So one thing, since we have a little time before we take up the executive session, there was a request, and now that I see Ms. Wendy Cottle, regarding September Saturdays. Ms. Cottle, can you please come, if you don't mind, Chairman, come to the microphone and please let citizens know about September Saturdays, if we've updated the website, the application process, and then I promise you we'll take up executive session, Chairman.
Thank you,
Morning.
Vice Chair. Good morning,
Good
Board.
morning.
September Saturdays is the county's biggest festival of the year. We hold it the last 2 Saturdays of September. It's a wonderful festival with all sorts of things. There are rides for the kids. We have retail vendors. Community groups will be there to tell you about all the things that they offer. We have food vendors. We have performers. And this year, I'm particularly excited about our performers because we switched to giving our local talent a spotlight. So in addition to having the wonderful school children come out like they always do every year, we're keeping the school children. Nobody get upset. But we're also going to give the talent that's right here in our county an opportunity to perform. There is no admission. It's free to come in. You can enjoy the entertainment. But if you want to have something to eat, or if you want to buy something, you know, that's, bring a little cash for that. We also have our animal shelter is there. So if you're looking to adopt a pet, or if you're looking for more information on how to take care of the pets you already have, you can get that there. And it's just a wonderful day. It's a rain or shine event. Now, if you are a food vendor or a retail vendor, a performer, or a community organization, and you'd like to be a part of this event, if you go to our website, you'll see on the home page, scroll to the bottom, there's a little flyer there that says September Saturdays, and there's separate links for whatever. Click on that, and there are separate links, application links for each type of vendor. There's a different application for the food vendor, a different application for the retail vendor, and a different application for the performers. So just make sure you click on the correct one. You can pay online. There is a fee if you want. There is no fee for performers. But if you are a retail vendor or a food vendor, there's a small fee. You can pay online, or you can come on in. We take a cash check. We'll take it. So that information is all there. If you still have questions, you can call me. My number is 770-920-4770, or you can email me, kcaudle@douglascounty.gov.
And the website is?
And the website is celebratedouglascounty.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Chairman, I yield.
Commissioner.
Yes, yes, thanks, sir. I move that we go into executive session, discuss litigation and personnel as requested.
I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but I have a question about the executive session. Do we need to announce the reasons we're going into executive session? And
Yes,
if
we
so,
do.
are we going to discuss the probate judge, the situation? Or are we just going to discuss the personnel matter that you alluded to?
But I've got a motion on the floor.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion now?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I
Do I need to repeat that?
No, I understand your question. I think we clearly should go into executive session to discuss the personnel issues and the litigation matters. If the board votes to do that, we could do it, but depending on what the discussion is, it would not be able to move forward. I can't advise that we do an executive session for litigation because I'm not sure exactly what the litigation is all about. But we can certainly,
I just want to do what's legal and appropriate, and I'm asking for your advice, sir.
my advice would be that we go into executive session for personnel matters and litigation and adjourn the matter if the litigation discussion is inappropriate or outside of the scope of executive session.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? We're adjourned. Oh, I'm supposed to do this.